Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Running well late this morning. For some reason, I got it into my head to take my health a little more seriously. So I decided to go for my very first run. Well, not my very first, but fuck. Take three. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Running well late this morning. Please forgive me if I do. Shit. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Take five. God. And no, I'm not going to put all of these outtakes on because they run a little bit too fuck's sake. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Take six, believe it or not. I am running well late this morning. I got up a little bit later than usual, and for some reason got it into my head to start taking my health a little bit more seriously and decided to go for my very first run in quite a few years. I installed an app on my phone that I've used before called the Couch to 5K, which basically trains you to run from nothing to 5K in 9 weeks. You basically listen to a trainer who tells you when to walk and when to run. It couldn't be any easier. It was hard work, to put it mildly, and it kind of threw the whole morning out. So I really am late this morning. So if I start rattling along at the speed of a freight train, do forgive me. I'll start with a congratulations to Jason Kerr, our Ginger Ninja. He's been voted YouTube Entertainer of the Month, which I think is absolutely brilliant news. Well deserved, mate. I love your channel. Those punchy little 60-second reviews come in very, very useful for movies that I'm thinking of watching, but can't be asked to watch long-winded reviews of. And also you do your Tubi reviews and your monster reviews. Absolutely love them. Love your channel, mate. So that is very well deserved. Nobody was more pleased than me that you got that. You nominated your 5, and you also gave me an honourable mention. So thank you very, very much for that. That's very much appreciated. Just to be mentioned in the same breath as the the esteemed YouTube channels that you mentioned is an absolute honour for me, so I really am pleased about that. So thank you very much for that, Jason. Much appreciated, mate. And congratulations on winning YouTube Entertainer of the Month. Very well deserved, as I say. I've also got, I think I've got a new subscriber. It's crept up to 109. Now it's not showing who it is, but I've got a funny feeling I know. I got a friend request from a young man called Alec in the States, who runs a YouTube channel doing movie reviews and stuff like that. And I think it might be him, but I'm not entirely sure. So if it is you, Alec, welcome to the group, which I'm hoping you've joined. I think you have. And also welcome to the channel. It's good to have you aboard, mate, and I hope you like what we're trying to do here. So what else have I got here? Comments on last week's video now. We'll start with that. Scott. Excellent video, Tony. Loved it, mate. Thanks, Scott. Looking forward to seeing that book you mentioned. I'll show it you now, actually, very, very quickly, because I've shown this before. It's that one by Josiah Howard, Blaxploitation Cinema. This is an absolutely cracking book. It's classed at the bottom there as the essential reference guide, and I'll just show you a couple of the pages. I won't flick through it, but what I will actually. There you go. You got lots of black and white photographs. You've got a nice section in the middle which is all colour, or if I can find it, there you go, it's all colour. There are so many of these films out there. I'm going to use this when I finally get round to watching Coffee and Foxy Brown and all those other ones that I bought. I will use this, I think, as a kind of a reference guide to the rest of them. Newport, I think I'll get into those types of movies more now after seeing Coffee, and I don't blame you. Coffee is an absolutely amazing movie. I can't wait to watch Foxy Brown. I've just got to pick the right time to do it. I'm thinking about getting Foxy Brown soon. Definitely recommend you do that. Heard that's another great Pam Grier film. I've heard the same thing, but I've not actually seen it. Another thing is, I'm really, really enjoying, as I said last week, those reviews that you're doing of old classic movies. My God, you are watching some absolute bangers. Um, you did a review last week of Casablanca. Didn't see that one coming. What a classic, brilliant movie. Is there any chance you can post them in the group? I think I'm the only one that's actually seen them because obviously I'm on your friends list, but the rest of the group won't have seen those. So if you could post them on the group, I'd appreciate that because the group would love this. They're mostly movies that we've pretty much seen, and it's just great to know what you think of them. So yeah, by all means, post your reviews on the group, mate, because we'd love to read them. I know the others would as much as I enjoy them. The movies you've watched recently, Casablanca, brilliant, and I've got something to show you that's Casablanca related. When I can get it down, it's on a very high shelf. I can't reach it, believe it or not. So I've got to get a ladder to get it down. But it's something if you enjoy Casablanca, you will love this. It's something I was given around about 30 years ago, and it's just a beautiful item. I will show that as soon as I can get it down. Eden Lake, deeply disturbing. You didn't like it. Well, I think you liked it, but you just found it quite upsetting, and I don't blame you. I haven't seen this movie for years, but I do remember it being extremely intense, very, very unpleasant. Not one I think I would ever want to revisit again. Um, no, I can't see it. Vertigo, Hitchcock classic, absolutely brilliant. James Stewart. Wolf Creek, another pretty violent movie in the same sort of vein as Eden Lake, kind of. It's an Australian movie. Again, violent, nasty, unpleasant. Really well done, though, I will say that. And Raising Arizona, Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter. I haven't seen this in a long time. This is another of those VHS tapes that was in when I worked there, and it hardly ever went out. I did watch it and really, really enjoyed it. It's another one that I really do need to catch up on because I haven't seen it since then. So that must be over 30 years ago. So yeah, they're the ones that you've been watching recently. So yeah, if you think on Scott, just post them on the group because we would love to read those reviews of yours. Jason, great vid as per, mate. Cheers, Jace. Like you said, Tony, in your video, you're 61 now and we ain't here forever. We were talking about getting round to being a little bit brutal with my collection, thinning it out and all that sort of thing. And I did happen to say that I'm sort of coming up to 61 now, and I've got so many sort of VHS tapes, bloody DVDs, Blu-rays, downloads. If I live to be 150, I don't think I could possibly watch them. What I'm going to do over the next week, I'm going to do a proper count of everything that I've got, and I'll let you know next week, and I think even you'll be astounded at how many I've actually got. But I will do that in time for next week. But yeah, that's what we were talking about. And you put I'm 50 now, and it's took me 20 years to watch a movie for the second time, so there ain't no chance it's going to be watched again. This is how I've got to start thinking now. Will my movie project convince you to be brutal on sorting yours out? It will. Well, it already has done, as you will see very shortly. I set a plan of watching all my collection in 5 years. I started in March 2020 when we went into lockdown. With being a full-time carer for the wife, I obviously get more time than others, and it helps. The wife loves movies. Not always a fan of my choice of film, I can imagine. And you put, have the balls to be brutal, Tony, and have a good sort out. Have a 2 or 3 year plan. Set up a Music Magpie account. Set yourself a target and go from there. Oh, I'm not sure I can be bothered with the Music Magpie thing. Mine are just going to go to the charity, my favourite charity, the RSPCA. So what I'll do is that I will be sorting out having a proper ransack and just, like you say, I've got to start being brutal. I've got way too many, far too many. And as I say, if I live to be a stupid age, I'm never going to get a chance to watch them. So I'll show you something in a minute, actually. We were talking about Rosie Dixon, Night Nurse. You put a post up last week. I haven't actually seen that one. I love these 70s sort of softcore sex comedy type things. I think they're brilliant. Um, they're not the best acted. They're just typically British, and like you say, you've got like the Confessions movies, the Adventures movies. There was loads of them, and I've got something to show you here. I think I've shown these before, but just in case I haven't, if you've got any more than a passing interest in this kind of sort of classic British cinema, these are highly recommended. I haven't watched any of these yet. The Mary Millington collection. Now, this will be a bit before your time, Jace, but in the 1970s, her films were pretty much always they pretty much got a permanent screen at Burton Odeon. They pretty much screened these Mary Millington movies, the Confessions movies, the Adventures, and all that sort of thing. This is a Blu-ray collection that I got probably about a year or two back. I've not actually got around to watching any of them yet, but I will be doing. And also, there's a couple of books here. There's that one, which basically details the career of Mary Millington right the way from the start to a sort of untimely death. That's a cracking book. And also this one, which I got for £2.50, Keeping the British End Up, which is basically, as it says, 4 decades of saucy cinema. And it's just a history of 60s and 70s sex comedies, that kind of thing. And a cracking book. Not one that you can read, I think, from cover to cover, but it's definitely one to flick through. So I'd recommend those if you've got any more than a passing interest in this kind of movie. As I say, I just find them charming nowadays. So yeah, I would recommend those. What have we got here? Rosie Dixon Night Nurse. I remember watching this when I was about 10 years old. What? Really? 10 years old? My uncle used to rent 3 or 4 movies out every weekend from the video store on Burton, opposite the Dial, formerly known as Doxy's Pet Shop. I remember that one. It was upstairs, if I remember right. And this was one of them. He was only about 20 himself at the time, so not a good influence on his nephew. Not at all. Also, the Adventures movies, Confessions movies. This is how I watched all the videos. Video Nasties too. Let's see. So yeah, 10 years old watching. There were so many of them about. You'd also got, apart from the Confessions of the Adventures series, you got movies like Eskimo Now, as you say, Rosie Dixon, Night Nurse, Keep It Up Downstairs. There were loads of them. The 70s were littered with these movies, and they were all entertaining enough for what they were. As for your post about the Muppet Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm not sure. Would I watch it? You bloody well know I'd watch it. I would absolutely go for that one. And I love the idea of this triple bill you've got for today. Wizard of Oz. Total and utter stone cold classic. I've seen it hundreds of times. Never get bored of it. It's just one to put on a rainy afternoon. Love it. Swiss Family Robinson. Haven't seen it, so I don't know. I think I saw. Oh, hang on. I probably saw it many, many years ago, but I've certainly not seen it recently. And also Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is another one, another go-to movie on a miserable day. Certainly better than the Johnny Depp version, which I have kind of seen. I've seen bits of it, and we've also got a prequel on the way with Timothy Chalamet. Not really sure how I feel about that one, whether I can even be bothered with it, but yeah, 3 brilliant movies there. Now then, on the subject of, we were talking about binning movies. I've sorted out 3 to start me off. Now, just bear with me 1 second, because one has got lost in amongst. Oh, it hasn't. It's here. There we go. These are the 3 that I've picked just at random, that I pretty much know I'm not going to watch again. These were actually bin it or keep it's that I decided to keep. But looking at them now, like you say, I've got to start being brutal. Am I going to get the chance to watch them again? Am I going to want to watch them again? Probably not. First one is that one, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Brilliant movie, directed by Guy Ritchie, if I remember right. Starring, what's his name? Charlie Hunnam and Jude Law. An interesting retake on the King Arthur legend. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was great, but again, not one I'm going to watch again, I don't think. Oh, this is going to be a controversial one. Captain America. I've actually watched this twice. I saw it for the first time probably about 2 years ago, and then I watched it again last year when I reignited my interest in the MCU and thought, well, I'll go back to the beginning and watch this one again. Again, really enjoyed it. It's a cracking movie, as is all of the MCU. But am I going to get a chance to watch them again, especially at the rate that they're coming out at the moment? It seems like one every month, near enough. So watching them again isn't really an option because I need to catch up with the ones that I've not actually seen. So that's another one. And the other one was this, Shooter. Now, this was a cracking movie, great action film. Um, but again, am I going to watch it again? I don't think so. I'd be very, very surprised if I actually pulled this one out and thought, I want to watch that again. So that is my first attack of brutality on the collection. They're my first three that are going down to the RSPCA shop as soon as I get a minute. What else have I got here? Just bear with me. Let's see. Jason Kerr, Ginger Ninja, getting my editing done while watching Tony. Good times, good times. Love that Omega Man review, by the way. It's a movie I've wanted to see for a long, long time. I love Charlton Heston's work. And that is one that's appealed to me for quite a while. So I'm going to grab a copy of that and I'll let you know what I think of it. Chris, that Sam Neill autobiography looks amazing. I actually found it on Audible probably about 3 weeks ago, and I listened to the sample, and I thought at the time that's definitely going on my wish list, and I would definitely get that. And you mentioning it and posting that has made me want to check that out. So I will be getting a copy of that. How did The Untouchables on 4K look, by the way? I think that was yesterday you were watching that. It's quite an old movie, isn't it? It's 1987. So I'll be very curious to know what the quality of that one's like when you get a minute. Rick, Grange Hill. We were talking about Grange Hill being rebooted as a movie featuring a lot of the original cast. You put Grange Hill in 2023, it's gonna be woke. No calling Roland fatty anymore. Absolutely not. That would be a definite no-no. Awesome vid, Tony. Keep crushing it, mate. I certainly will. So I appreciate that, Rick. You watched Starman and also Inner Space. Starman, I saw that for the first time, I think it was last year or possibly the year before. It took me a long time to catch up with it, but it was absolutely amazing movie. I'm really, really pleased I did get a chance to watch it. Jeff Bridges is just awesome in it. That's one that I would definitely watch again, I think. I believe, have I got that on Blu-ray? Can't remember. I must have if I've watched it. And Inner Space, that's another one that I've not seen since my days in the VHS shop. It was another one that went out like crazy for the first 3-4 weeks, and then it slowed down and never moved, and that's when I got the chance to watch it and thought, this is brilliant. Obviously it reminded me of Fantastic Voyage, the 60s classic sci-fi movie with a comic twist to it. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. So what have we got here? Guy, lovely stuff, mate. Cheers, Guy. I especially love the false ending. That was actually a complete accident. I just forgot to review the movies that I'd actually came on to do. So yeah, that was an accident, mate. Thanks for the shout out. Glad you enjoyed the podcast. You just need to be patient now while we're on break. I really, really enjoyed it. I knew nothing about Grand Theft Auto, apart from the controversy that surrounded it when it came out. But I certainly know a lot more than when I went in. Personal Services, another one of those films I watched with my parents as a kid. I swear my folks didn't seem to give a shit what I saw on the telly. Do you think? Personal Services, what on earth would you have made of that as a kid? I'm not even sure I know what to make of it as an adult most of the time. But, saying that, I promised I'd grab a hold of the book. And there it is, An English Madam by Paul Bailey. Now, the movie drew inspiration from this. But when I've read this, and I will start it this week, I will tell you whether I think that the movie is based on this. I think it will be. I reckon there's going to be a lot of stuff here that that's going to make me think this movie is definitely based. Yeah, absolutely. But we'll see how we go with that one. Mark, you put, glad you enjoyed the weekend at Burnley Movies, and thank you for finally getting round to doing a review of them. Love the video as always. Cheers, Mark, much appreciated. I did enjoy those movies. They were just great fun. If you've got any others that you want me to take a look at, just chuck them at me. You watched The Pope's Exorcist yesterday, I think, and put, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great performance from Crowe in a not so familiar role. I can't imagine Russell Crowe doing anything like that, so I'm really looking forward to taking a look at this. I have seen the trailer and it does look great. What did you make of Renfield and Scream 6, by the way? I've been listening to podcasts over the last couple of weeks about Renfield, basically interviews with Nicholas Hoult and the director, I believe. And it sounds interesting. I'm definitely going to take a look at it. It's certainly a different take on the Dracula legend, that's for sure. Steve Mack, glad you enjoyed the Second Sight video. My 4K collection video is on the way. It's actually on there now, isn't it? So, and I will take a look at it, Steve, but this is one that I actually want to watch as opposed to just listen to. So yes, I will be giving that a go. And I will also be catching up on your Let's Talk Criterion videos, which I always enjoy. Gareth, time for some tea and tone. Cheers. Love that Star Wars collection that you put on there, by the way. All the VHS tapes. Especially that Empire Strikes Back paperback, which I used to have years ago. It's another one that I seem to have let go. I can't remember what I did with it. I must have either given it away, thrown it away, or whatever, but I do remember having that, and I've got an inkling I'm going to be getting a fresh copy of it off eBay, along with the Star Wars A New Hope novelisation, and also Return of the Jedi. I believe I had all three a while ago. So yeah, I enjoyed seeing those, mate. Callie, love that Book of the Dead, but over £100. What the fuck? It looks great. It really does look absolutely awesome. And I can see why you were so excited about getting it. So yeah, anybody that's interested in that, by the way, you can get it from Free Treats, but don't take your credit card in with you, because you will end up coming out with that. Let's see now. Genevieve, I listened to a podcast this week about the classic movie Genevieve, which I have loved since I was a kid. It's basically a very, very gentle comedy from 1953 starring Kenneth More, John Gregson, Dinah Sheridan. Is it Janice Sheridan or Dinah Moore? Dinah Sheridan. Absolutely brilliant. I didn't realise this, actually, believe it or not. This lovely, gentle British comedy had problems with the US censors in 1953 when it was released over there. There was a reference to Dinah Sheridan nipping to the loo and having to ask for a penny. That didn't go down too well because in the 50s, any reference at all to toilets was absolutely forbidden. That's how backward they were back then. So that, I don't know whether they cut it out, but he definitely had problems with the censors on that. And also the inference that Kenneth More and Kay Kendall, I think her name was, actually went away for a dirty weekend. And that was a definite no-no as well. So Genevieve, I love this film. I never ever get bored of watching it. It's another rainy Sunday afternoon type of thing. So yeah, believe it or not, even movies like that get problems with the censors, especially in America. What have I got here? Sylvester Stallone. Now then, cliffhanger reboot. Sly is coming back to play Gabe Walker again. I remember seeing Cliffhanger at the cinema. Oh God, long time ago. It would have been when it came out, so it would have been what, 1993, something like that. Really impressed with it. Not a great fan of action movies, but that was something else. So yeah, I'm well up for this one. It's only at the casting stage so far, so there's no real information about it. But definitely up for it without a doubt. And two of my favourite movies ever are coming to 4K, and I could not be more excited about this. First one, Gregory's Girl. This is Bill Forsyth's 1981 movie. Basically about first love, adolescence, that kind of thing. An absolutely charming film. It's being released on 4K with a host of new extras, a new transfer, cleaned up. I mean, I've got it on Blu-ray, as you can see, but I will be double dipping on this one. Absolutely. I love this movie. I even love the soundtrack, which is superb, which I believe there's going to be an isolated score on the 4K, which will make it buying on its own. And also, The Wicker Man. Now this, it was priced at £60 and I couldn't figure out why. I thought, why on earth is it going to be 60 quid? It's a movie from like 50 years ago. But apparently it's a 5-disc set. It's going to have all 3 cuts of the movie on it, a host of new extras, beautiful new transfer. All of a sudden it's worth 60 quid. I get the feeling it'll probably come down a bit before then, but we'll see how we go with that one. But I am really looking forward to seeing those on 4K. Last night's pizza and a movie night was this, Logan's Run. I haven't seen this for ages, long time. Stars Michael York and Jenny Agutter, living in a society where basically you are forbidden to live after 30, and you go to what they call the fiery ritual of carousel to be renewed. It's a cracking movie if you've not seen it. It's also got a brilliant score by Jerry Goldsmith. It is typical 1970s sci-fi, and you know how much I love 1970s sci-fi. So this, for me, was absolutely amazing. And it was lovely to see it again. And obviously it's given me the appetite to watch this, which is the TV series. This came about 2 years after. Starred Gregory Harrison and Heather Menzies. Heather Menzies played the female lead in Piranha about a year or two later, opposite Bradford Dillman. Cracking movie. And this series, I think it ran, how many episodes did it run for? Does it say 14? It was only 1 season. I could never figure out why, because I absolutely loved it. So yeah, looking forward to having a go at that. This week's series that I grew up with, I watched this quite a while ago. This is why I love network DVDs, because they bring out all these old classic series that you've not seen for decades. Try this one for size, Arthur of the Britons. It starred Oliver Tobias, probably about 3-4 years before he became the stud in the Jackie Collins adaptation of that. It also starred Michael Goffard. Who's the other guy in this? Jack Watson. And it's set in the Middle Ages. King Arthur, completely different take on it. It ran for, I believe, 2 series, 24 episodes in all. I remember the theme music to this very well, the opening title sequence. I'm about due to rewatch this, just one a week or something like that. But that is my series that I grew up with for this week. And I've been buying a couple of bits. I'll very quickly show you these because we're coming up to 30 minutes. First one, Lynch Oz. Now this was on Film 4 for about a month. Completely missed it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to treat myself to this on Blu-ray. It's not even out the cellophane yet. Basically, if David Lynch has used The Wizard of Oz as a major influence on pretty much every single movie that he's done, and this explains the theory behind it. It's supposed to be a really entertaining documentary, so looking forward to that. I watched this the other week on DVD and couldn't resist grabbing it on Blu-ray. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Brilliant 80s comedy. Elvira is just absolutely superb. Really enjoyed that one. Count Yorga, the Count Yorga collection. This is a different take on the vampire movies. Released around about 1973. I saw the first 5 minutes of this on Talking Pictures TV, and I thought, I wonder if that's out on DVD. Went on and found this lovely Blu-ray collection for about £8, so I had to have that. And also, I listened to a podcast a couple of weeks ago all about Jaws, The Revenge. The only Jaws film I have never seen, but the podcast just made me want to watch it. So yes, I had to grab a copy of that on Blu-ray. I will almost certainly be grabbing a copy of Jaws 2 and 3 also on Blu-ray, seeing as I've already got Jaws, the original. And the other thing I got is this. This is the book that was being promoted on that podcast, The Shark is Roaring, which is basically the story of Jaws the Revenge. And this is supposed to be an account of how the movie was made, right the way from start to finish. You've got interviews with Lorraine Gary, a lot of the stars, a lot of the cast and the crew, and obviously a lot of tales on how the film was made. So looking forward to having a watch of that. Right, I better get going before it clicks over to 30 minutes. Thanks ever so much for joining me, folks. Really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe, like and share and all that. Would be very much appreciated. I'll be back next week about the same time with more of the same. Have a great week, folks. Enjoy the sun, because apparently it's going to be quite warm. And I will see you all again next week. Take care, everybody. Take care. Ta-ra.